Get some of these tools, and they're going to find their way into Bob's pickup truck. And at the end of the shift, you and Roy are going to be outside when Bob goes to his truck. And when he opens the door to get in his truck, sticking out from the floor mat are going to be these tools. And there you are, two supervisorial people within 10 feet of this incident. You call him in.
I mean, it all seems pretty.
You remind him of policy.
The man was.
But you offer him a deal.
Not here, not
You say, look, if we call the authorities, then you've got another blemish on your record. And we know life's been rough for you. We don't want to do that. So if you'll simply resign, we'll let the matter drop. Otherwise, we have no choice but to discharge you and to contact the police because of stolen company property. What we might even do is develop a management memo, put it in a sealed envelope, and stamp it this big, confidential, management only, and have the plant manager stick it in his hip pocket, and as he's walking through the plant, all of a sudden it just happens to fall on the floor. And there's this thing that says confidential management only. Somebody picks it up when he thinks nobody's looking and reads it. And it's a report on the theft incident. And even though Bob was a hell of a union man, a thief is a thief is a thief. Or maybe, you know, Mary, that damn Mary, she's been doing real good with that female group of employees. And it's been hard to break through that one. But I have heard, and we know, that she has a history of substance abuse. She's been on and off drugs and in and out of treatment for a long time. And you know our policy on substance abuse. Well, what we may have to do, and I'll let you know when it's going to happen, because we'll have to get some female management people to assist us, but most of the females keep their purses in lockers in the ladies' lounge. We'll find a way to get a couple of bags of white powder in that purse or in her locker. And when it comes time for that locker to be opened, and Mary will be offered the same option as Bob.
So basically you're picking somebody, you're picking Mary, and you know she's had something and she's probably doing it anyway.
If she's doing a good job for the union, and this is what you all have to hear, as a union buster, as a hired gun, as a hitman for management, and I was all of those, I was only as good as my last case. So you heard all the pompous shit in the group meeting, because that's what I wanted you to go out and sell your people. But if that's all I did in a campaign, I could not have won for my client. These two illustrations are just some of what I've done, or in a more general way. One day you'd all come to work and you'd see company property vandalized, whether it was trivia or things broken, or pro-company, anti-union employees, tires slashed, or cars keyed. And management would put out a letter, dear fellow employee, it is highly regrettable that these kinds of incidents of vandalism have to occur. But it certainly is indicative of union behavior, and we will not tolerate it at this company, or words to that effect. The subtlety of just the power of suggestion. Who commits vandalism? Unions do that. Unions have been vilified. But oh no, we did that. Or one more example, and I'll take your question. I'm not really talking to you, but I'm staging this. You're a real threat to my winning this campaign. I mean, hell, you're out doing house visits sometimes till midnight. I mean, and you work a 12-hour shift. I don't know how the hell a guy like you ticks, and I don't know how your wife tolerates you never being home. I mean, you know, she must really feel the same feeling that you have about the union. One night you're out. You're working for your union. You're out talking to people and their families at home, where it's vital to make contact. And while you're out, what's your wife's name?
Siobhan.
Siobhan?
Yeah.
While you're out, Siobhan gets a phone call. It's an anonymous voice. And the speaker on the phone says, Siobhan, I'd rather not identify myself, but, you know, Sergio, as you well know, has been out 7 nights a week with the union, working for the union. I think you ought to know the union's got a name, and it ain't Teamsters, it's Mary Jane. Now, what have I done with that call? Not a problem. He's going to come home, and he may be the most faithful husband alive, but the seed of doubt and distrust. So what's happened? He's been defocused from his effectiveness.
CEOs spend millions of dollars to keep unions out of their company.
I was billing $1,500 a day, plus expenses. And I had to earn that. Because you see, union busting, and you must hear this from a guy who did it for almost 19 years of his life, it's not about bottom line. This man who retained me, who gave me a check the minute I walked into his office for 10 grand, just to make sure he had me. Before this campaign is over, he's going to pay me somewhere between 5 and 10 times, me and the attorneys and the rest of the costs, 5 to 10 times what it would cost to sit down and recognize the union, negotiate a fair, honorable, equitable contract for the well-being of the entire company, and proceed in a good faith, heart-filled collective bargaining relationship. Instead, by today's rates, it's probably going to cost him, before the dust settles, about 5 grand an employee. Anywhere from 3 to 5,000, depending on length of campaign, size of unit, number of supervisors. That goes right here. And you know why he's doing it? It sure ain't bottom line or profit, because I'm getting most of that. It's about one thing. It's all about control. And see, each and every one of you in this room, when you take that mask off and you become union organizers again, what you're fighting is an obsession for control. You can't do what I did and be God-fearing and have a conscience, because people are just names on paper, and pretty soon the names disappear and they're replaced with symbols of plus or minus, their votes. And that's all I cared about. That's all everybody out there that does this cares about. And there isn't a guy doing what I do, or did, worth half a salt and making any damn money if he's not a bullshit artist, if he's not slick and he's not quick, because he's got to come in and he's running more than a show. He is running an act of terrorism over a period of time. He is destroying the democratic rights of working people for justice on the job at any expense and whatever it takes to accomplish that end. So he's got
But
to be
union busters can be defeated.
But get the guy out in the open. Find out as much as you can about him, just as he has done and is doing to your people. Expose him and what he does, and he won't last very long, because he'll lose quickly the confidence of his client. When people find out that they're being manipulated, that they're potentially being set up, that they're being deceived and lied to, and it's by a very expensive hired gun by the name of From, that outrage translates right into solidarity. And it's the kind of solidarity that's real, real hard to break through.
As Teamsters, we can beat the employers and their dirty, high-price union busters. By standing together, working men and women can win the respect and the opportunity we deserve for ourselves and our families. That's what being a Teamster is all about.